6 months had passed since the liberation of Valoris Prime. The Horizon's Edge was finally heading home to Earth, but the journey was taking longer than expected. The reason was simple: they kept receiving distress calls. Another one, Captain Minho reported. He stood at his station looking at the latest message. A species called the Rendali. They're being raided by pirates. They're asking specifically for humans. Ji-hoon rubbed his tired eyes. Word had spread fast across the galaxy. News of the Deathworlders who saved Valoris Prime had traveled through every communication network. Some species were curious, some were afraid, and some were desperate. How far out of our way? Ji-hoon asked. 3 days, Minho replied. Set course. Let's see what we can do. Yuna looked up from her medical bay. Captain, we need to talk about this. We're explorers, not a rescue service. The crew is exhausted. We've been away from Earth for almost a year. We need to go home. I know, Ji-hoon said quietly, but they asked for help. How can we say no? The Rendali situation was different from Valoris Prime. The pirates weren't an overwhelming force. They were just opportunistic raiders hitting small settlements. One human shuttle with Minho and a small security team was enough to chase them off. The Rendali were so grateful they offered the humans a lifetime supply of their most valuable resource, a rare crystal used in advanced computing. We don't need payment, Ji-hoon told them, as he always did. Then accept it as a gift, the Rendali elder replied, and know that you have friends in this sector. A week later, another call. A scientific research station was stranded on a dying planet. Their rescue ships couldn't reach them in time because of solar storms. Human ships built to withstand Earth's harsh environment could survive what others couldn't. Hana piloted the Horizon's Edge through radiation that would have destroyed most vessels. They rescued 47 scientists from 4 different species. When they delivered the scientists to safety, one of them, an elderly researcher, touched Ji-hoon's hand. You're the first humans I've met, the researcher said. The stories are true. You really do come when others call. By the time the Horizon's Edge was 2 months from Earth, they had responded to 8 different distress calls. The crew was tired, but something had changed. They weren't just explorers anymore. They had become something more important. Then Earth sent a message. Captain Kim, you are ordered to return to Sol system immediately. Do not make any more detours. Repeat, return home now. About time, Minho muttered. I miss real food. But 3 days later, they received a transmission that changed everything. It came from something called the Galactic Coalition, a union of 47 different species. The coalition had been observing humanity's actions. They wanted to meet. This is Ambassador Velis of the Galactic Coalition, a voice said. The hologram showed a tall, elegant being with blue skin and 4 arms. We extend an invitation to humanity. We wish to discuss membership in the coalition and to learn more about your species. Your actions at Valoris Prime and elsewhere have attracted significant attention. Ji-hoon contacted Earth immediately. The response came from the highest levels of human government. Accept the invitation, Captain. You're now officially Earth's first contact ambassador. God help us all. The meeting took place on a neutral space station at the edge of Coalition space. Ji-hoon had never seen so many different alien species in one place. Dozens of them, all staring at the humans with expressions that ranged from curiosity to fear. Ambassador Velis greeted Ji-hoon personally. Captain Kim, welcome. Your reputation precedes you. The Valori have spoken very highly of your species. We just did what anyone should do, Ji-hoon said. That's not true, Velis replied gently. Most species would not have intervened at Valoris Prime. The risk was too great. The reward was too small. You acted against all logical calculation. They walked through the station. Velis explained the history of the Galactic Coalition. Most member species evolved on what humans would call garden worlds. Stable climates, gentle gravity, abundant resources. Conflict was rare. Violence was almost unknown. We have managed peace for 3,000 years, Velis said with pride. We resolve disputes through negotiation and compromise. We have no standing military forces. We believed violence was a primitive response that advanced species had evolved beyond. Then the Kraxen came, Ji-hoon said. Yes, and we had no answer. We watched 17 worlds fall. We held meetings and discussed options, but none of us were willing to fight. None of us knew how. Velis looked at Ji-hoon with his large, gentle eyes. Then you arrived. A species from a death world. Predators, warriors, and you saved those people without hesitation. They entered a large council chamber. Representatives from dozens of species waited. Ji-hoon felt like he was on trial. "We have questions about humans," Velis said. "About Earth, about your capabilities." For the next 3 hours, Ji-hoon answered questions. Some were simple. What is Earth's gravity? What do humans eat? How long is your lifespan? Others were more complex. Why do humans fight? What drives your aggression? Are you a threat to peaceful species? Ji-hoon answered honestly. He explained Earth's history, the wars, the struggles, the slow progress toward peace. He talked about humanity's capacity for both violence and compassion. He didn't hide the dark parts of human nature, but he also emphasized the good. "We're not perfect," Ji-hoon said. "We've made terrible mistakes. We've hurt each other, but we've also learned to cooperate, to help each other, to reach for something better. We're still learning." A representative from an insect-like species spoke up. "What if we ask for your help? What do you want in return?" "Nothing," Ji-hoon said simply. "If someone needs help, we help. That's what defines civilization," the council murmured. This concept seemed foreign to many of them. Velis nodded slowly. "This brings us to our proposal. The Coalition needs defenders, species who can respond to threats like the Kraxen. We've never needed such capabilities before. But the galaxy is more dangerous than we thought. Would humanity be willing to serve as the Coalition's defense force?" "No," Ji-hoon said immediately. The council went silent. Velis looked surprised. "No? We won't be your soldiers," Ji-hoon explained. "We won't fight your wars for you, but we will teach you to defend yourselves. We'll train your people, share our tactics, help you build proper defenses. And if someone sends a distress call, we'll answer. But you need to learn to protect yourselves too." That's the only sustainable solution. A debate erupted in the council. Some agreed with Ji-hoon. Others were disappointed. They wanted humans to do the fighting for them. Velis called for quiet. Captain Kim makes a valid point. "We cannot rely on others to protect us forever." "Very well, we accept your terms. Will humanity join the Coalition as an equal member?" "I can't speak for all of humanity," Ji-hoon said, "but I believe we will. We want to be part of the galactic community. We want to learn from you, share with you, and yes, protect each other when needed." The vote was unanimous. Humanity was invited to join the Galactic Coalition. Back on the horizon's edge, the crew celebrated quietly. They were making history, but they were also exhausted. Yuna approached Ji-hoon in his ready room. "I've been offered a position," she said. "The Coalition wants to establish an interspecies medical center. They want me to run it. Will you accept?" Ji-hoon asked. "Yes, I think I can do a lot of good. Sharing human medical knowledge could save millions of lives." She smiled. "Plus, I'm curious about alien biology." Professional interest, Minho had news too. "I've been asked to train Coalition Defense Forces, teaching them what you call Deathworlder tactics. It'll take years, but someone has to do it." Hana was returning to Earth. "Someone needs to help design the new ships," she explained. "If we're going to be answering distress calls across the galaxy, we need ships built for it. Fast, tough, and ready for anything." Ji-hoon realized his crew was going their separate ways. They had started as explorers. They had become heroes. Now they were becoming something even more important. Bridges between humanity and the galaxy. "What about you, Captain?" Yuna asked. "What will you do?" "Keep flying," Ji-hoon said. "There are more distress calls out there. More people who need help. The horizon's edge will keep answering." A month later, Earth welcomed the horizon's edge home. The ship was battered and scarred from its journey. But the crew walked out with their heads high. They had represented humanity well. The whole world knew their story now. They were interviewed, celebrated, and honored. But Ji-hoon felt uncomfortable with the attention. He was just doing what needed to be done. On his last night on Earth before heading out again, he visited the memorial for Taewon, Subin, and Dongyun. Their names were carved in stone along with a simple inscription. They answered the call. His new crew would launch in the morning. Volunteers from every nation wanted to serve on the horizon's edge. They wanted to be part of humanity's new role in the galaxy. As Ji-hoon prepared for departure, he received one more message. It was from Silas on Valoris Prime. She had continued her training and now led her own defense force. "Thank you for everything," she said. "The Valori will always remember what you taught us. Courage isn't the absence of fear. It's doing what's right despite the fear." We received a distress call yesterday from a neighboring system. We're going to answer it. The Deathworlders showed us the way. The transport shuttle touched down on the massive alien warship with barely a sound. Lieutenant Taeyang stepped out first, his boots making soft thuds on the metal floor. Behind him, 6 other human soldiers followed, each carrying their standard military packs. The alien ship was huge, much bigger than anything Earth had ever built. The walls glowed with soft blue light, and the air smelled strange like flowers mixed with metal. Taeyang looked around the docking bay. Dozens of alien soldiers stood watching them. Some looked like giant insects with too many legs and shiny black shells. Others were tall and covered in green scales with eyes that blinked sideways. These were the Krillix and the Vexari, the 2 main species in the Galactic Coalition. They had invited humans to join their military training program. It was supposed to be a friendly meeting between allies. Commander Sora walked up beside Taeyang. She was shorter than him but had a commanding presence that made even the tall aliens pay attention. "They're staring at us," she whispered. "Let them stare," Taeyang replied. "We're the new species here." Of course they're curious. A Krillix officer approached them. Its body was covered in dark purple armor that seemed to be part of its shell. The translator device on its chest crackled to life. "Welcome, humans. I am Officer Krix. We have prepared living quarters for your unit. Please follow." The humans walked through the corridors of the alien ship. Everything was too tall, built for creatures bigger than humans. The doors were twice as high as needed. The aliens walking past them kept stopping to stare. Some of the Vexari hissed softly when the humans passed. Taeyang wasn't sure if that was good or bad. After 20 minutes, they reached the communal dining area. It was a massive room filled with long tables and benches. Hundreds of alien soldiers were eating their meals. The room went quiet as the humans entered. Every eye, antenna, and sensor stalk turned to look at them. "You may consume nutrition here," Crick said. "We eat together as a sign of unity and peace. All species share this space." Sora nodded and pointed to an empty table near the corner. "We'll set up there." "Thank you, Officer Krix." The humans sat down and began unpacking their meal rations. Taeyang could feel the weight of hundreds of alien eyes watching them. He tried to ignore it. Private Hyunwoo sat across from him and pulled out his lunch container. "I'm starving," Hyunwoo said. "That shuttle ride took forever." "Just eat normally," Sora said quietly. "Don't make a scene." Taeyang opened his own container. Inside was a simple meal: rice, some vegetables, and a few pieces of chicken. He also had a tomato, bright red and fresh. He picked it up and bit into it. The juice ran down his chin. It tasted good after the long journey. Suddenly there was a loud crash. Taeyang looked up to see a Krillix soldier backing away from their table. Its sensor stalks were pulled tight against its head. The translator on its chest was making alarmed beeping sounds. "Medical emergency. Medical emergency!" the Krillix shouted. "The human is bleeding from its mouth." More aliens rushed over. A Vexari wearing what looked like a medic uniform ran up to Taeyang with some kind of scanning device. "Do not move, human. We will stop the bleeding." Taeyang was confused. He wiped his chin and looked at the red juice on his hand. "Oh, this? This isn't blood. It's just tomato juice." The aliens stopped. They looked at each other, then back at Taeyang. "Tomato?" the Vexari medic asked. "What is tomato?" Taeyang held up the half-eaten tomato. "It's a fruit. Well, technically a fruit. Some people call it a vegetable. We eat them. They're good for you." The medic's scanning device made a strange noise. "This fruit, it contains highly acidic compounds. It shows signs of cellular breakdown. This is spoiled plant matter." "No, it's ripe," Taeyang explained. "That's how they're supposed to be." Officer Krix came back with more soldiers. "Explain this. Your food is damaged? Why do you consume damaged plant material?" Sora stood up slowly, trying to calm the situation. "It's not damaged. Humans eat fresh fruits and vegetables. This is normal for us." Hyunwoo, not reading the room very well, pulled out a plastic container filled with kimchi. The fermented cabbage was bright red from the pepper paste. "Hey, Commander, can I eat this?" "I've been saving it." The smell hit the aliens immediately. It was strong, spicy, and carried the distinct odor of fermentation. 5 Krillix soldiers backed away from the table. 2 Vexari covered their breathing slits with their clawed hands. "What is that substance?" Krix demanded. "Our sensors detect bacterial contamination. That food is rotten." Hyunwoo looked at his kimchi, then at the aliens. "Rotten? No, this is fermented. It's supposed to smell like this. It's really good." Want to try some? He held out the container. 3 more aliens evacuated the area. The Vexari medic was scanning the kimchi now. Its eyes were wide with horror. This food is teeming with bacterial cultures. Millions of living organisms. You intentionally grew bacteria in your food, and now you plan to eat it? Well, yeah, Hyunwoo said. Humans have been fermenting food for thousands of years. It's healthy, good for digestion. More aliens were gathering around now. Word was spreading through the mess hall that the humans were eating contaminated food. Some aliens were taking images with their devices. Others were calling their superiors. Sora could see this was becoming a bigger problem. She stood up and raised her voice. Everyone, please calm down. There is no emergency. This is normal human food. We are not in danger. A new alien arrived. This one was different from the others. It looked like a floating cloud of gas contained in a clear environmental suit. The translator on the suit identified it as an ethalon, one of the more scientifically advanced species in the coalition. I am Vorim, chief biologist of this vessel, the gaseous alien said. I must inspect your food supplies immediately. The safety of this ship may be compromised. Taeyang put down his tomato. This was getting out of hand. With respect, sir, our food is perfectly safe. For humans, at least. That is what concerns me, Vorim replied. You are consuming substances that would be lethal to most species in the coalition. We need to understand your biology before we can proceed with this military partnership. Sora looked at Taeyang. They both knew this was going to be complicated to explain. Our species comes from Earth, Sora began carefully. Our home planet is classified as a Class 12 death world. Our dietary requirements evolved to match our environment. What seems dangerous to you is normal to us. The mess hall was completely silent now. Every alien in the room was listening. Vorim's gas form swirled inside his suit. A Class 12 death world, I see. That would explain the acid tolerance and bacterial resistance, but intentional consumption of fermented materials, that is unprecedented. I think we need to have a longer conversation about human nutrition, Sora said diplomatically. Officer Crix looked at the human food on the table, then at the humans. Yes, a much longer conversation. Until then, I am quarantining your food supplies. No human will eat in the communal area until we understand what we are dealing with. The humans gathered their things quietly. As they left the mess hall, Taeyang could hear the aliens talking in dozens of different languages. The translation devices created a wall of worried sound. Words like dangerous and contaminated and death world kept repeating. Well, Hyunwoo said as they walked back to their quarters. That went badly. Sora sighed. We're going to need to do a lot of explaining. Taeyang looked back at the mess hall. Through the doorway, he could see aliens gathered around the table where they had been sitting, examining the food containers like they were dangerous weapons. Being the new species in the galaxy was going to be harder than anyone had thought. Captain Yuna had been sleeping when the emergency call came through. As the human intelligence officer on the mission, she was supposed to handle cultural problems between species. She had expected some small misunderstandings, maybe a translation error or an accidental insult. She had not expected to be woken up at 3 a.m. because her fellow humans had caused a panic by eating lunch. Now she stood in the briefing room, facing a panel of very upset alien officials. Vorim, the gaseous ethalon biologist, floated at the center. Officer Crick stood to the right, its sensor stalks twitching with agitation. On the left was a new alien Yuna hadn't met yet, something that looked like a large crystal formation with lights inside. Captain Yuna, Vorim began. We have a serious situation. Your species has brought biological contamination onto this vessel. We must inspect all human food supplies immediately. Yuna kept her face calm. The food is not contaminated. It's safe for human consumption. We have strict safety standards. Safe for humans, perhaps, the crystal alien said. Its voice came from somewhere inside the lights. But 3 of our crew became ill from simply smelling your fermented cabbage product. We have never encountered a species with such dangerous dietary habits. It's just kimchi, Yuna said, trying not to sound defensive. It's a traditional food. It's been eaten for thousands of years. That makes it worse, Vorim said. You have been intentionally poisoning yourselves for thousands of years and somehow survived. Yuna rubbed her temples. This was going to be a long meeting. All right. You want to inspect our food supplies? Fine. Let me take you to the cargo bay where we store everything, but I need you to understand that what seems strange to you is completely normal for humans. 20 minutes later, Yuna stood in the human cargo section with a dozen alien scientists. They had brought scanning equipment, protective suits, and what looked like weapons. Yuna hoped those were just tools. "This is our food storage," she said, opening the first container. "We have enough supplies for 6 months." Vorim floated closer, his scanners active. "Let us begin the analysis." The first container held rice, dried noodles, and flour. The alien scanned it carefully. "These are plant seeds ground into powder." The crystal alien observed. "Consumed raw?" "No, we cook them first," Yuna explained. "We add water and heat. Then they become soft and edible." "Remarkable. Your digestive systems can process raw plant cellular walls?" "Well, yes. Most humans eat grains every day." The aliens made notes on their devices. They seemed relieved that at least some human food was relatively normal. Then Yuna opened the second container. Inside were dozens of packages of instant noodles, hot sauce bottles, pepper flakes, and dried peppers. The smell hit the aliens immediately. 2 Krillix backed away so fast they bumped into the wall. Vorim's gas cloud turned a darker color. "What are those red plant structures?" "Peppers," Yuna said. "We use them to add flavor to food. They contain capsaicin, which creates a spicy sensation." "Capsaicin?" Vorim's voice rose. "That is a chemical weapon. It is used as a deterrent spray on 7 different worlds." You eat it?" "Humans like spicy food," Yuna said simply. A Vexari scientist was scanning the peppers. "These readings show extreme concentrations. This level of capsaicin would burn through Vexari tissue. It would cause permanent damage to Krillix nerve endings. How can you consume this?" Yuna picked up a dried pepper. "Humans have a different tolerance. We actually enjoy the sensation. Some humans eat even spicier peppers for fun. There are competitions." The alien stared at her in silence. "Competitions," Krix repeated slowly. "You compete to see who can ingest the most chemical weapons." "Sort of, yes." Officer Krix made a sound that the translator couldn't interpret. It might have been despair. The third container was worse. Inside were wheels of cheese, some aged for months. The fermentation smell was strong. Next to them were bottles of wine and beer, all clearly labeled as alcoholic beverages. Vorim scanned the cheese and his entire form started pulsing with agitation. "This is advanced bacterial decay. These cultures are used as biological agents on 15 different worlds. You age this intentionally, and you will eat it?" "Cheese is delicious," Yuna said. "The aging process makes it taste better. As for the alcohol, yes, humans drink it. It's a depressant that affects our nervous system temporarily. In small amounts, it's considered socially acceptable." "A depressant," the crystal alien said. "You voluntarily consume a substance that impairs your neural function." "Only a little bit," Yuna tried to explain. "And only for recreation." The Vexari scientist was shaking its head. "This alcohol ethanol, it is poison. Pure poison. It damages cellular structures." "How are you alive?" "Human livers process ethanol efficiently," Yuna explained. "We evolved the ability to break it down. Probably because our ancestors ate a lot of fermented fruit." "Your ancestors," Vorim said slowly, "ate rotten fruit." "Fermented fruit," Yuna corrected. "There's a difference." "I do not see one." Specialist Donghyun had been watching from the doorway. Now he walked in holding a steaming cup. "Hey, Captain Yuna, I made coffee." "Want some?" He offered the cup to Vorim. "Would you like to try? It's fresh." Vorim scanned the cup. Every alarm on his environmental suit started screaming. "Caffeine!" "That cup contains lethal amounts of caffeine. Move away from me." Dongyun pulled the cup back, confused. "It's just coffee, 1 cup. Normal strength. Caffeine is a neurotoxin," Vorim shouted. "It causes cardiac arrest in 43 known species. Why do you have it? Why would you drink it?" "Because humans get tired," Dongyun said. "Coffee helps us wake up. It's normal. Most adult humans drink it every day." The alien scientists looked at each other. Yuna could see they were reevaluating everything they thought they knew about humans. The fourth container made things even worse. Inside were packages of meat, dried fish, and eggs, all preserved but clearly from dead animals. The crystal alien's lights flickered. "You are predators." "Omnivores," Yuna corrected. "We eat both plants and animals." "You kill other living creatures and consume their bodies." "Yes, that's how food chains work on Earth." Crix was scanning the dried fish. And these aquatic creatures? You removed them from water, ended their lives, and preserved their flesh? That's what fishing is, yes. Sergeant Nari walked in at that moment. She had been exercising and was eating something from a small container. Oh, hey, are we doing a food inspection? Cool. She held up her container. Inside were thin slices of raw fish on rice. What is that? Forum asked, though his tone suggested he didn't want to know. Sushi, Nari said happily. Raw tuna. I made it this morning. Want some? Every alien in the room took a step back. Raw, the Vexari medic said. You are eating uncooked animal flesh. Yeah, it's really fresh. That's the best way to eat tuna. Fresh means recently dead, Crix said. You prefer your food to be recently killed. Nari shrugged. I mean, yeah. Would you want old sushi? Forum's gas cloud was now pulsing rapidly. This is impossible. Your species should not exist. Everything you eat is either toxic, contaminated, or dead. How did you survive long enough to develop space travel? Yuna decided it was time to tell them the truth. Because we come from Earth. Earth is a Class 12 death world. Everything on our planet is constantly trying to kill everything else or trying not to be killed. The plants evolved poisons to stop animals from eating them. The animals evolved resistances to those poisons and ate the plants anyway. Then bigger animals evolved to eat those animals. Humans evolved to eat almost anything. But why? The crystal alien asked. Why consume poison? Why eat dead flesh? Why drink neurotoxins? Because on Earth, if you're too picky about food, you starve, Yuna said quietly. Our ancestors ate whatever they could find. Ripe fruit, rotten fruit, fresh meat, old meat, plants, roots, insects, anything. The humans who could eat more different things survived. The ones who couldn't didn't. After millions of years, we evolved to have very strong stomachs and very adventurous tastes. The room was silent for a long moment. Engineer Jiwan chose that exact moment to walk in, eating a chocolate bar. Hey, what's everyone looking at? What is that brown substance? Orm asked weakly. Chocolate. It's made from cacao beans. Really good. Want a piece? Scan it first, Crix ordered. The Vexari scientist scanned the chocolate. This contains theobromine, another toxic compound, similar to caffeine. Oh yeah, Jiwan said. Chocolate is poisonous to dogs. That's why we don't give it to them. Dogs? The crystal alien asked. Other Earth animals, smart animals. They live with us. But chocolate kills them so they can't have any. Forum's voice was barely a whisper. You have a food that kills other intelligent species on your own planet and you eat it anyway. Dogs aren't as resistant as humans, Jiwan explained. We're really good at processing toxins. The aliens looked at the containers of human food. Then they looked at the humans standing there, casually eating and drinking things that would kill most of the galaxy. Officer Crix spoke first. I'm calling the Coalition Council. This is beyond our authority to handle. Your species is a biological impossibility. Yuna sighed. We're really not that weird. Once you get used to us. That, Forum said, is what I'm afraid of. The Galactic Coalition Council chamber was the largest room Taeyang had ever seen. It was a massive sphere with floating platforms arranged in circles, each one holding representatives from different species. There were hundreds of aliens present, maybe thousands. All of them were there to watch humans eat. Major Hana stood on the central platform with Taeyang and Captain Yuna. They had been ordered to give a demonstration of human food preparation and consumption. The council needed to understand what they were dealing with before allowing humans to integrate into galactic society. Hana was calm as always. She had volunteered for this demonstration because she was a survival specialist. If anyone could explain human food in a way that made sense, it was her. Honored council members, Hana began. Her voice amplified throughout the chamber. Thank you for this opportunity. Today I will show you what human soldiers eat in hostile environments. This is our standard military field ration. She held up a sealed brown package. We call this an MRE. It stands for Meal Ready to Eat. Every human soldier carries these when we deploy to dangerous areas. A voice came from one of the floating platforms. It was Acrylic's elder. You need special food for dangerous areas? Do standard rations not suffice? These are standard rations, Hana explained. What I mean is, this is food that can survive any environment. Extreme heat, extreme cold, radiation, anything. It stays safe to eat for years. She opened the package. Inside were several smaller packages, a heating element and utensils. The aliens leaned forward, their scanning devices active. First, we have the main meal, Hana said, holding up a sealed pouch. This one contains beef stew. Beef is meat from a large earth animal called a cow. We cook it with vegetables and preserve it in this pouch. Vorim's voice echoed from his platform. Preserve dead animal flesh. We have documented this already. Please continue, Hana nodded. She pulled out a small packet. This is the heating element. It uses a chemical reaction to generate heat. I add water here and... She placed the pouch inside the heating element and added water. Immediately, steam began rising. Several aliens made alarmed sounds. That is an exothermic reaction, a crystal alien shouted. You are creating temperatures above 80 degrees. Yes, to heat the food, Hana said calmly. Cold stew doesn't taste as good. She let it heat for a few minutes while showing the other items. Here we have crackers made from wheat flour. This is peanut butter made from ground peanuts. These are Skittles, a candy made from sugar. And this is a beverage powder that we mix with water. The Vexari medic from before was scanning everything. The peanut substance shows proteins that cause anaphylactic shock in 70% of known species. The colored candy contains artificial compounds that are banned as toxic additives in 42 systems. The beverage powder has enough sugar to cause metabolic failure. Humans process sugar efficiently, Hana said. We actually need it for energy. The heating was done. Hana opened the pouch and the smell of beef stew filled the chamber. Half the aliens covered their breathing organs. The other half activated their environmental suits. Now I'll eat it, Hana announced. She took a spoonful of the hot stew and put it in her mouth. She chewed slowly, swallowed, and smiled. Delicious. Need salt, but good enough. The chamber erupted in shocked voices. Dozens of different languages mixed together. The translation system struggled to keep up. She consumed it, someone said. She consumed the heated dead flesh. Without any distress signals. Her biology is processing it right now. Hana continued eating, showing no discomfort. She spread peanut butter on a cracker and ate that too. Then she drank the beverage she had mixed. Taeyang watched the aliens. Some looked horrified. Others looked fascinated. A few were taking extensive notes. Then Corporal Minji, who had been standing quietly at the side, made a mistake. He pulled out his personal food stash from his pocket. Major Hana, is it okay if I have a snack? I got hungry watching you. Sure, Hana said, not thinking about it. Minji opened his container. Inside was dried squid, ghost pepper-flavored ramen, and 3 preserved eggs that were dark brown, almost black. The chamber went completely silent. What? Vorim asked slowly. Are those black spheres? Minji looked down at his food. Oh, these? Century eggs. They're preserved eggs. You take regular eggs and keep them in alkaline clay for about 100 days. They turn black and kind of jelly-like. They taste really good. Acrylic's xenobiologist floated down to get a closer look. You took viable embryo containers and aged them for 100 planetary rotations. Then you plan to consume the decayed result. They're not decayed, Minji protested. They're preserved. It's different. How is it different? Minji thought about it. Well, you do it on purpose. And it tastes good. The xenobiologist's sensor stalks drooped. Your species intentionally rots eggs and considers it food preparation. We also ferment fish, Minji added helpfully. And make cheese from spoiled milk. And brew beer from moldy grain. Humans have been fermenting stuff for like 10,000 years. An elder from a species Taeyang didn't recognize spoke up. Why, if you have fresh food, why spoil it? Because fermented food lasts longer, Captain Yuna explained, stepping forward. Our ancestors didn't have refrigeration. They had to make food last through winter, through droughts, through times when hunting was bad. Fermentation was a way to preserve food and keep it safe to eat. The bacteria in fermented food actually kills the bad bacteria that would make us sick. But you still have refrigeration now, the elder said. Why continue this practice? Because we like the taste, Minji said. He ate one of the century eggs. See? Perfectly safe. Half the aliens in the chamber looked away. The other half stared in horror. The Krillex elder spoke again. Let me understand this correctly. Ancient humans developed fermentation out of desperation. But modern humans continue the practice because they enjoy eating intentionally spoiled food. That's one way to put it, Yuna admitted. And the chemical weapons you call spices? Another alien asked. Is that also desperation? Minji held up his ghost pepper ramen. Nah, this is just for fun. Some humans like really spicy food. I'm one of them. This ramen has ghost peppers in it. They're about 400 times spicier than regular peppers. 400 times, Vorium repeated. You increase the toxin concentration by 400. Makes you sweat, but it's worth it, Minjae said cheerfully. He opened the ramen package. The smell of ghost peppers hit the chamber. It was immediately chaos. Alarms started going off. Environmental suits sealed automatically. 3 Vexari fainted. 2 Krillix evacuated to the medical bay. The crystal alien's lights flickered wildly. Chemical attack, someone shouted. Seal the chamber. It's just ramen, Minjae yelled over the noise. It's not a weapon. Taeyang grabbed Minjae's arm. Put it away now. Minjae sealed the package quickly. The smell began to fade, but the damage was done. The council chamber was in complete panic. It took 30 minutes to calm everyone down. Medical teams checked every alien for exposure injuries. Thankfully, no one was seriously hurt, just shocked and scared. When order was finally restored, the Krillix elder spoke. We have seen enough. The council will now deliberate. The humans were escorted out of the chamber. They waited in a side room for 2 hours while the council talked. Minjae sat in the corner looking guilty. I'm sorry, he said quietly. I didn't think it would cause that much trouble. It's not your fault, Hana said. They asked us to demonstrate human food, we did. It's not our fault that our normal food terrifies them. Finally, they were called back in. The Krillix elder looked tired. The council has reached a decision. We need more information before we can integrate your species into our military structure. We are sending a scientific team to Earth to study your planet directly. They need to understand the environment that created your species. Only then can we make an informed decision. That's fair, Captain Yuna said. Until then, the elder continued, human food will be kept strictly separated from all other species. You will have your own dining facilities, your own storage, your own preparation areas. No alien is to be exposed to human food without proper protective equipment and medical supervision. We understand, Yuna replied. The elder's sensor stalks quivered. One final question. You mentioned that human children must learn to eat your food. Does this mean infant humans cannot consume your normal diet? Hana nodded. Baby humans drink milk only for the first months. Then we slowly introduce solid foods. Children often refuse to eat vegetables or spicy things. It takes years of training to get them to eat a full adult diet. The chamber was silent for a moment. So human parents must train their offspring from birth to tolerate poison, the elder said. That's a harsh way to put it, Yuna said. But basically, yes. The elder turned to address the full council. We are dealing with a species that must be conditioned from infancy to survive their own cuisine. A species that evolved to consume chemical weapons as flavoring. A species that intentionally spoils food and calls it preparation. And yet they survived. They thrived. They built starships and reached the stars. This is what a death world creates. This is what evolution through constant danger produces. The elder looked back at the humans. You are approved for continued study. But humans, please understand. The distress signal came during the night shift. Captain Taeyang was asleep when the alarms pulled him awake. He grabbed his uniform and ran to the bridge. Commander Sora was already there looking at the tactical display. What's the situation? Taeyang asked. Asteroid mining station Delta 7, Sora said. Their life support failed 6 hours ago. They have 47 crew members trapped. Mixed species, mostly Krillix and Vexari. They're running out of air and they've lost their food supply systems. How long can they survive? The air will last another 12 hours if they stay calm. But the food situation is critical. They need species-specific nutrients. Without their synthesizers, they can't produce what they need. They'll start suffering metabolic failure in 8 hours. Taeyang looked at the star map. We're the closest ship. Yes, but the Coalition is sending a proper rescue vessel with full life support capabilities. It will arrive in 20 hours. That's too long. I know, Sora said quietly. Taeyang made his decision. Prep a shuttle. Get our emergency response team ready. We're going to get them out. Within 30 minutes, the human shuttle was away from the main ship. Taeyang commanded the rescue team. With him were Sora, Dr. Hyunwoo, and 4 other specialists. They brought emergency supplies, medical equipment, and breathing apparatus. The flight to the asteroid took 3 hours. The mining station was a mess. An explosion had torn through the processing section, damaging power systems and life support. The survivors had sealed themselves in the emergency shelter, but it was only a temporary solution. The human team docked and forced open the damaged airlock. Inside, they found the alien crew huddled in the dim emergency lighting. The air was thin and stale. Many of the aliens looked weak. "Human rescue team here," Taeyang announced through his translator. "We're getting everyone out." A Krillex supervisor crawled forward. "Bless your arrival. But we have a problem. The shuttle that brought you, how many can it carry?" 30 comfortably, maybe 40 if we push it, Sora said. "We are 47. And several are injured. They need medical pods." Taeyang did the math. 2 trips. But they didn't have time for 2 trips. "The air would run out. We'll make it work," he said. "Load the injured first. The rest will fit somehow." It took an hour to get everyone loaded. The humans gave up their seats. They stood in the aisles, crammed between equipment and alien bodies. The shuttle was dangerously overcrowded, but they made it back to the human ship. The aliens were brought to the medical bay. Dr. Hyunwoo started treating the injured, while the healthy ones were taken to a temporary shelter area. That's when the second problem became clear. "Captain," one of the Vexari said weakly, "we need food. Our species requires specific nutrients. Do you have food synthesizers on this vessel?" Taeyang's heart sank. The human ship didn't have alien food synthesizers. They only had human food. And after all the incidents, all the panic, all the regulations about keeping human food away from aliens, he knew what would happen if he offered what they had, but the aliens were starving. He called a quick meeting with Sora, Dr. Hyunwoo, and Specialist Bora in the hallway. "We have a crisis," Taeyang said. "They need food. We only have human food. What do we do?" "The coalition regulations are clear," Sora said. "No human food near aliens without proper authorization." "They'll die if we don't feed them something," Dr. Hyunwoo argued. Bora thought for a moment. "Wait, what if we modify our food? Strip out everything that makes it dangerous?" "What do you mean?" "Human food isn't inherently toxic," Bora explained quickly. "The problem is what we add to it. The spices, the fermentation, the processing. But basic human food, plain rice, boiled vegetables, simple proteins, those should be safe for most species. Maybe not optimal nutrition, but enough to keep them alive until the coalition rescue ship arrives." "Are you sure?" Taeyang asked. "No," Bora admitted. "But it's better than letting them starve." Taeyang made his decision. "Do it. Prepare the blandest, simplest food we can make. No spices, no fermentation, nothing processed. Just basic nutrients." The human crew went to work. They boiled rice until it was soft and plain. They steamed vegetables without any seasoning. They cooked chicken by boiling it in water with nothing added. They prepared fruit by washing it and cutting it into small pieces. Everything was as simple as possible. Taeyang brought the first bowl to the Krilk supervisor. It was white rice, steamed carrots, and plain boiled chicken, all cut into tiny pieces. "This is human food," Taeyang said carefully, "but we removed everything dangerous. No spices, no chemicals, no fermentation, just simple nutrients. I can't promise it's perfect for your biology, but Dr. Hyunwoo says it should be safe." The supervisor looked at the bowl. Its sensor stalks twitched uncertainly. "You are offering us your food? We don't have anything else. This is all we can do. I understand if you don't trust it." The supervisor was quiet for a moment. Then it picked up a small piece of rice with its feeding appendage. It scanned it quickly with a personal device. Carbohydrates, simple sugars, no toxins detected, acceptable. It ate the rice. Then it tried the carrot. Then the chicken. "It is bland," the supervisor said, "but it is food. It will sustain us." Word spread quickly among the aliens. The humans were sharing their food. The food that had terrified the entire galaxy, but modified, made safe, offered in friendship. Not all the aliens could eat it. Some species had very specific nutritional requirements that rice and vegetables couldn't meet, but most could. Most found that plain human food, stripped of all the things that made it dangerous, was actually edible. Not delicious, but acceptable. Sergeant Nari was helping distribute food when a young Vexari asked her a question. "Why is this food so different from what we saw before? The red paste, the fermented vegetables, the toxic plants. This is nothing like that." Nari sat down next to the young alien. "Because humans don't need those things to survive. We eat them because we like them. But we can also eat simple food. We just choose not to most of the time." "Why would you choose the dangerous option?" "Because it tastes better to us. Because it's part of our culture. Because our ancestors worked hard to discover spices and fermentation and all those techniques. It would be disrespectful to them to give it up." The Vexari ate another piece of steamed vegetable. So all the poison, the toxins, the chemical weapons you consume, you do it by choice? Not by biological need? Mostly yes. That is somehow more terrifying than if it were required. Nari laughed softly. I guess it is. Hours passed. The aliens ate the simple human food and slowly recovered their strength. Dr. Hyunwoo monitored them carefully, but there were no adverse reactions. Plain food was working. Lieutenant Yuna found Taeyang on the bridge. The Coalition rescue ship just made contact. They'll be here in 2 hours. Admiral Seokjin is on the line. He wants to speak with you. Taeyang took the call privately. The Admiral's face appeared on the screen. Captain Taeyang, I heard about the rescue. You fed the aliens human food? Yes, sir. We had no choice. They were starving, I understand. But you violated about 15 Coalition regulations doing it. Yes, sir. I take full responsibility. The Admiral was quiet for a moment. The survivors are already talking to the Coalition. They're telling everyone that humans saved them, that humans shared their food, that human food, when prepared properly, is safe and edible. This changes things, Captain. In a good way or a bad way, sir? Both. The Coalition was afraid of human food because it seemed alien and dangerous. But you showed them it doesn't have to be. You showed them that humans can adapt, can modify, can meet others halfway. That's important. Thank you, sir. Don't thank me yet. There's going to be an investigation, hearings, lots of paperwork. But I think the outcome will be positive. You showed the galaxy that humans aren't just scary Deathworlders. We're also capable of compassion and flexibility. The Coalition rescue ship arrived on schedule. The aliens were transferred carefully, with full medical care. The Krelak supervisor approached Taeyang before leaving. Captain Taeyang, I need to tell you something. My people have always been afraid of predator species. In our history, predators meant death. When we learned humans were apex predators from a death world, we were terrified. We thought you would be violent, aggressive, dangerous. And now? Taeyang asked. Now I understand. You are predators, yes. You evolved through competition and violence, yes. But you also evolved intelligence and compassion. You could have left us to die. You could have ignored our distress signal. Instead, you risked violating your own regulations to save us. You gave us your food, the food that is precious to your culture. That is not the action of a dangerous species. That is the action of a good species. The supervisor extended one of its limbs. Taeyang recognized it as a gesture of respect. He clasped the limb gently. Thank you, the supervisor said, for showing us that Deathworlders can be kind. 3 weeks later, the Galactic Coalition High Command issued its decision. Humans were granted full membership status. Human food would remain segregated for safety reasons, but humans were now free to interact fully with all alien species. The regulations were relaxed. Trust was established. A new mess hall was built on the flagship with separate sections for different species. But there was also a shared space in the middle, where brave aliens could try modified human food under supervision.